Hi, everyone. We are here with another episode of Life Possible with a Disability. I would love for you to like it, share it. If you do, it's all wheelchair or disability related content, and you can find it on YouTube and all the audio platforms too. So, today, my guest is Mark Raymond. He is from New Orleans, down the road from me in Baton Rouge. Um, I've been hearing about Mark, gosh, for a while. He's kind of famous. And I want him to tell you a little about how he became part of this wheelchair user community and what he has done to improve the lives, not just his own, but he saw the need that existed and created something called the Split Second Foundation. So, Mark, I am thrilled to have you, and take it away. Tell us about yourself.
Thanks, Karen. Well, like most people that become disabled, mine was from an accident. I dove off the back of my best friend's boat. July 4th, 2016, hit my forehead on the sandy bottom of Lake Pontchartrain and shattered the fifth vertebrae in my neck. Didn't quite know what was going on at the time. I was laying face down in the water, so I inevitably drowned and woke up at UMC a couple of weeks later.
Wow.
Pneumonia had set in, so I had to go through that whole experience. Not to mention I coded a few times, so
Wow.
when I woke up,
So
doctor
lucky
was
that you didn't have like an anoxic brain injury, also,
like,
right? Yeah.
it was I don't even know how to explain it. I'm just blessed, or lucky, or whatever
Yeah.
terminology whoever wants to use. But um, so immediately I woke up and doctors told me that I had a spinal cord injury at the C5 level, and I would likely not walk again. And so I started going through that journey of the grief and the denial, and um,
Hmm.
that was my beginnings of this, right? But
Right.
navigating the healthcare system became really tricky. I was blessed to have a strong family and support system to really help with that.
Me
Uh,
too. Makes things a lot easier.
it does when you have like family advocates, right? But a lot of people don't. And even still, like getting access to resources was really tricky in the beginning. And when I was discharged from inpatient therapy, like I went from having access to all those doctors and nurses and therapists, right? On a 24-hour basis, basically, to not. And being on a waiting list to get into outpatient therapy, and not having a mental health professional that really understood the trauma, um,
Hmm.
or having like a community based social worker that was connecting me with all the resources
I'm a
and
social worker. So shout out to social workers. That you understand the importance of the mental health piece of this.
absolutely. I mean, it's critical, and so that's where like I guess I recognize some of the problems in our community. Specifically for at the time it was like hyper focused on spinal cord injury. So when I did get into outpatient therapy, I was only doing 1 day a week, and I was frustrating. Um, and inevitably, I got to two and then three, but I was discharged after 8 months. And when they discharged me, they gave me this nice little printout and said, "Hey, continue doing these exercises at home, with your family." And I was
Right.
like, "Oh, that's lovely, but family don't have time, like there's
Right.
there's not enough time in the day." And so that was another huge problem. So me and mom actually went to Sacramento, California to go to SciFit. And that was where like I got my first experience with activity-based therapy in a fitness space, where they really just challenged the doctrine of what recovery looked like based off of like physical therapy, right? I mean, these
Right.
guys were willing to stand me up, to walk me. Um, they just really pushed the limitations of what
Mhm.
exercises I could do, one, and how I could recover post injury. I spent about 3 months there, and I felt stronger than I had like the whole time doing outpatient therapy here. And that was just because of the consistency, the pushing that they were doing. I was going 2 hours a day, but it was
Yeah,
expensive.
and if you have the technology too, right, to like, so I was shot like in 1987. So 3 years before the ADA, and but they had standing technology then, multiple kinds. They also had functional electrical stimulation, which I have the RT300, and we'll get into the fact that you have one of those too at your place.
Yep.
But I like, thank goodness, like you had, was blessed to have family who had resources, but they also were like hard headed, like don't take no for an answer kind of people. Were like, no, no is not acceptable, right?
Right.
So I fought for the standing technology, the FES, and I was like, you just showed me a picture of a wound the size of my head. And then you tell me that, well, these things aren't covered and they're not really medically necessary. And I was like, well, I beg to differ.
Right.
And I mean, it sounds like you caught on like right away. How old were you at the time of your accident?
I was 27,
Yeah,
so high risk
you look
age.
like, yeah, you look like a baby. So yeah, like so you went out to California and you see what a really stringent regimen and the equipment that you need to do it, like how that benefits a person.
Exactly. And beyond that, though, it was also the community, like being around other people that were pushing, that had been in it for 5 or 6 years and had seen a lot of progress. Like that gave me the spark, right? It was like the hope, the light that I needed.
Yeah,
And that's where I got the idea to, you know, even pursue trying to bring something like that to New Orleans. Um, so I decided to do it under the umbrella of a nonprofit, though, because I didn't want to charge as much and I wanted to subsidize as much of the cost. Most people with these types of disabilities don't have access to resources, live on a super fixed income, right? Uh,
right. And I think too, Mark, like whenever I go out and visit these places in other states in California, Texas, New York, or on the East Coast, Louisiana, I love Louisiana. I'm a Louisiana girl. And I love this state, but we're kind of a poor state. We don't, our Medicaid and things like that, we don't have a lot of resources. So to bring something like that home to Louisiana where you can make it accessible to others, yeah, that's huge.
well, I mean, it was, and that was kind of where it became like bigger than me. Um, I knew I couldn't like just start a fitness center for me, so it was gonna have to
Yeah,
be for everybody. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
when I started like looking at disability as the whole picture of it, like 1 in 4 people in Louisiana have some type of physical, cognitive, or sensory disability.
Mm,
The physical are typically from our inhibitions. We like to eat good. We like to drink. Like to smoke.
right. Right, right. All that fun stuff.
All the fun.
Somebody said to me the other day, because I'm 54, and they're like something about, oh, you look, young for your age. And somebody said, what are you doing? And somebody said, it's more probably what she doesn't do, like what you're not doing, right? Because I just ate a carrot. I didn't feel like eating a carrot. It's such a, but do what you got to do, right?
You got to. I'm 33 and I'm starting to like really focus more on my diet and changing some things up. Because when I'm 54, I need to look like you.
Oh, so sweet. Yeah, like and I mean, I think right there's something. So you mentioned like, okay, so it's the physical stuff and having access. It was the community,
Yep.
and that's huge because when I got paralyzed, I see all these people now like they're going like they're getting married, they're talking about sex, they're talking about pregnancy, or
Yep.
they're talking about all kinds of things that I didn't have any. Like I just was like, I want a baby. I guess I'll figure this out, right? so, but that community is huge because it's where you learn a lot. I mean, therapists are amazing, but I learned more from other people with spinal cord injuries.
Right. I mean, the therapists they got most of their experience from books, where
Yeah,
the people in the community got their experience from living,
yeah,
uh, and like trial and error. And I trust the trial and error because they probably messed up a few times, and I don't want to mess up.
right. Why waste your time and energy?
Right. So anyway, we started Split Second Foundation in April of 2018 with a goal to break barriers for people with disabilities, and started to really look at the whole picture of what barriers look like from a cost perspective, access, resources and programs, connectivity. And I knew the first thing that we wanted to do was open a fitness center. So we started fundraising with you know the idea that proceeds would go towards that. It took us a little while to get there because COVID set in and shut the
Yeah.
whole world down, for a good 6 months, and there was a lot of fear and everything else. But we finally
I
got the
hadn't met you that I hadn't met you like yet, but one of the ATPs, Joy Nix, who works for New Motion,
yeah,
told me about you and what you were doing, and I had gotten my new FES bike, and so she's like, I was like, hey, I'm going to donate this, and I don't really know where to donate it to, right? It was kind of outdated technology, and you've upgraded, I've upgraded since then. But I remember way back then, your family came with a truck and picked that big FES bike up.
yeah.
And so you connected, you used your community and your resources really well prior to COVID and kind of getting that ball rolling.
Well, I mean, it's like the pillar to lean on, right? You got to lean on everyone around you in these situations, and I'm sure you have that same experience.
Well,
Uh,
you did a great job because it was I mean, you were just starting it and people were already spreading the word. But from what it was then to I got to visit not too long ago, um it's really kicked off. So tell us what happened through COVID. I think you had a couple of you had some people come in and you had some equipment.
so we actually opened in February 2021. Um, COVID slowed down like our process to sign a lease and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
we didn't sign a lease until November 2020. Got everything in, painted, mats, hired somebody. It was like a 3 month turnaround. Everybody was like, "Dude, what? How do you do this?"
Right. Yeah, no,
Uh, so we opened February 21. Small staff. I had three staff people at the time. Um, a physical therapist to be the director, and two
that cute.
kinesiologists. Yeah, Q. Q's amazing. Everybody loves Q.
Yep.
Um, and then we got Kiara and Marcus, and so Q had the time because we weren't super busy to actually train them on different disabilities and how they um, what that looks like from a workout perspective and how what to expect. So we really had a nice, small, humble start, and it just gradually took off to where are we now? September 2022. We've had over 130 clients.
Yeah.
Um, and everybody's got a split second story. Like
Mhm,
that's
yeah.
the beauty of it. You know,
Yep.
there's so
I
many.
do mine. It's so weird because my faith has always been really important to me. But I remember sitting on a bench. So September 19th, so the weather was very much like it is now in Louisiana, where it's like starting to cool down. It was like 80s or something. I'm sitting on a bench at LSU, and I literally thought to myself, Lord, like I don't know if life could get any better than this. Like, thank you so much. Like, everything I could have ever wanted, just kind of like a moment, a grateful moment, right? The next day, I get up, we're moving myself into a new apartment. My boyfriend and he wants to go to this blues place after the football game. I don't, but we went anyway and got held up in the parking lot. And like, 1 minute I'm this healthy 19-year-old girl, just like living this like just really beautiful life. And then I almost dead like you. I mean, I wasn't unconscious for that long, but I almost bled out before they got me to the trauma center, and I had a punctured lung, so I wasn't getting much oxygen. And and I mean, I always say my faith. I got kind of carried through that moment. It was kind of supernatural, like not in a terrible way, but like kind of in a beautiful way.
Yeah,
Um, but there's a way to like take that and either like sit around and cry about it or do what you did and like change a city, right? Change access to it was big, Mark. I mean, like I know you said it, it got bigger than you, but like it's a bold move to be like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start a nonprofit. You probably had a lot of risk in that.
it was, and my advisors were like, "It's a lot of work." I was like, I'm not. I don't. I did rocket science. This isn't rocket science. I can figure it out. Yeah, because I had a chemistry and physics background in college.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
So this was like, if I could do that, I could do this. This isn't that
I
hard.
was gonna say, yeah. I mean, but you're way you most a lot of rocket scientists aren't nearly as cool as you or personable as you are. So congratulations on pulling that off.
Well, there's a reason I got out of that field.
Yeah, I get it. Um, so I'm gonna show too at some point, like some posts. Like I never put together all of. I did a little post on our video, but we did some more video when I was actually at your place, like a little like tours and stuff like that. So I'm gonna show them a tour at some point. Also, um,
Totally.
tell us. Tell us maybe about some of the people that come in and like what they're working on, and then I know you have a big event coming up too.
Yeah. Well, I think most of my clients focus on their individual functional recovery and strength. What I've seen personally, like I couldn't transfer myself. I can transfer myself into my bed now. So like
Wow.
seeing that strength in my shoulders, the movement in my arms, like just having some place and people that consistently understand what I need and what I want to push and work on has been amazing. Getting my core stronger, and of course, doing a lot of standing, having the FES cycles. My problem is time, and especially like these this time of the year when I'm planning big events or I got a lot of stuff on me to execute. I just don't have the time to work out like I
I
need
know.
to.
Well, that's the thing, Mark. Like, and I feel the same way. Like, I sit in front of this desk and I, create content for New Motion. I get to do some cool events. I get to go see you at your place and share that. So, like, a dream job. But, I'm preaching standing and FES. And like today, I was like, you know what? I guess I could work on social media while I ride. I got to get better at incorporating the standing into my work day because
Right.
at the end of the day, I don't know about you, but like having a spinal cord injury, we've I bound bladder issues and all this other stuff. Like it's time consuming. So to fit the workout in is like tough.
It is, and just like you, like at the end of the day, you're drained. Like you're ready to eat and like calm
Yeah.
down. So,
Yeah. Something mindless.
yes, something very mindless. I'm trying to figure out if I could, like, how to get up at 6 a.m. and knock out my workouts then. Because otherwise, it's like the whole day gets away from me. But
I
even
know.
still, I'm getting emails at 6 a.m. where some nights I can't sleep. So I done sent 20 emails by 6 a.m.
Yeah.
It's just like, it never stops.
I know. But we got to get better at that. Maybe we hold each other accountable. Like, did you get your workout in today? Like,
Right.
and you've got, I mean, so I've got the equipment here. You've got the equipment. Like, it's just, but it's hard. So tell me, I know that you got the workout piece and you were telling me that you're going to expand it into other areas. So tell me about that.
So after seeing the impacts and the outcomes that we've made at this one facility, the goal was always to expand further in Louisiana. There's a lot of need in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Shreveport. But I had a video that went super viral on Instagram, and we started getting messages from all over the country and really all over the world.
Wow.
From people saying they need these types of facilities there. And so now it's like, okay, how do we grow into a national organization quick? And that might be like 10 years down the road. I think the immediate next steps for us is finding a bigger facility. We also got a grant from Blue Cross Blue Shield to do
Mhm.
a mental health case management program to really help connect folks with resources and be that bridge to help reintegrate people into society post injury. So having a
I'd love
space for
to
like,
help with that. That's like right up my alley. Prior to working for Emotion, I was a social worker at hospitals and case management, and I worked in a whenever we got somebody with a spinal cord injury, another disease process that caused mobility impairment, like launching them back into the world, was what I did. So happy to help there when you get that rolling.
well, you're already in my flow chart, so don't you worry.
Good, good, good. I'm so happy.
We're gonna
um,
do the work.
yeah,
But
I'm excited.
at least you'll work at a place with a workout facility, so you can
Right? No
have
excuse.
like
Can I?
both words.
Yeah, no, I mean, there I have no excuses.
It's okay. Time is the excuse.
I know. So,
Um, so scaling this, but also getting into other spaces. Like I really want to get into home health. I think Split Second Foundation would be a great home health agent. if we own a home health business, but also
Mm-hmm.
transportation. That's a huge barrier there. And living spaces, right? Like I think we can start developing housing and even do
Yeah.
some mixed use multifamily developments. So I've got all kind of dreams and visions and stuff that we want to execute. We're actually going to highlight some of that at the event that we're planning for.
Yeah, so tell us about that because I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna like get off an airplane and roll right into that gala. So tell us about that.
So Saturday, October 22nd, we are hosting our second annual Show of Love Gala. Love is a verb. Love is an action, and I think everything that Split Second Foundation does for the community is out of love, specifically for people who typically don't get the level of care and access that they need. However, this year we wanted to do something a little bit bigger and do something a little more. So we're raffling off a 2022 Honda Accord. Proceeds from that raffle are going to the purchase of a wheelchair accessible van for a family in need. Um, Now this is kind of like a twofold thing because not only this one family is going to get a van, but everybody who puts in and applies for this, we're going to help them with resources through our CARES program once we launch. So connecting them with like,
How did you turn a raffle into like five things?
I don't know, I get crazy with ideas, and then I'm like, am I doing too much? Laying in my bed at 2 o'clock in the morning when I can't sleep, worried if I'm going to sell enough raffle tickets to do everything I'm trying to do.
Right.
Oh my
I
god!
need. Yeah. And if you're going to the gala or not going to the gala, you could buy a raffle ticket, correct?
Correct. And that was another reason. The gala tickets are $200. The raffle tickets for the car are $25. So of course the raffle ticket is at a price point that a lot more people can participate in. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people want to help, and this is a good way for them to help. Um, we're super excited. I'll tell you, we got some great entertainment. We got Manny Fresh, Big Sam's Funky Nation, and DJ Rockaway. We've got Rob Nice and Reagan Charleston hosting. We got a special guest appearance by Tiffany Moon. We're giving a Caregiver of the Year award to
Wow.
a caregiver that we've identified at the fitness center. Uh, and,
Wow.
and we've also got some other special surprise guests coming uh,
Okay.
that I
Oh,
think
look, I'm
will be really
excited. Like
cool.
I've got some girlfriends that I'm trying to get like to meet me down there and make a girls' night of it. So, really excited. And then so just to let y'all know, I'm going to put the link to his website, the full website, probably a link directly to the tickets in case you're in the New Orleans area, or if you're not, you can still buy a raffle ticket for the van.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um,
Well, one thing I wanted to talk with you about though, outside of all of that, was able accounts.
yeah.
Financial literacy and empowerment is something else that we are starting to work on under the umbrella of the foundation. But
Yeah.
on the side, I'm also a spokesperson for the National Association of State Treasurers Able Today program, right?
Wow.
And you were
Okay.
one of the first people to tell me that you have an Able account.
Yeah. Yeah. Through Miss Wheelchair America, when I won in 2019, the Able Now had sponsored them, right? And so they had a booth and all the contestants, we were like, got to meet the person and they did a little talk about how a lot of people who have qualify for Medicaid. That's how they pay for their health care, right? And
Right.
they might also receive Medicare, but there are income limits for Medicaid. And so, this is a way to be able to put money in an account that's not going to count against you. In order to lose your services. So they were wonderful. They gave me $2,000 as part of my like prize money. And I have an Able Now account. Yeah.
So I didn't learn about Able until June of this year when I was approached about being a part of this. What I didn't know at the time either was the eligibility age was 26, right? So as a
Mm,
27-year-old, or I'm sorry, you had to be disabled, or your long-term disability had to be onset before 26. Um,
right. I think this is originally they started to do it for kids, right? Like
Yeah,
parents were able to put money in account. Yeah.
exactly, as a savings tool, because they're a lot like a 529 account. Um, so I didn't even qualify for an able account, which is like, ah. Um, however, Senator Casey is now passing an amendment through the Senate to increase the able age to 46, which would impact so many more people. As I'm
Yeah.
sure you know, disability typically happens to most people after the age of 26.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is incredible. But just wanted to give a quick plug to Able
Yeah,
today.
for sure.
Um,
If you don't know about it, you should know about it and look it up. And Mark, if you want me to, I'm happy to put a link to that also on the show
please.
notes of this podcast. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
abletoday.org.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Um,
Money,
no,
buy.
and I mean, that's, huh?
I said, save some money to buy a house.
Right. I mean, look, the finances and like just because you are the person with the disability doesn't mean you're always the receiver of care. Sometimes you are the caregiver. Like I had 3 kids, my husband passed away, and my dad passed away a good while ago. My mom's getting older, and she's like needing some help here and there, and we've got to take care of ourselves, physically, mentally, emotionally, but the financial piece is absolutely part of that, right?
Oh yeah. It's a huge part of like the freedom, right? And
Yeah.
allowing us to be able to care for other people and care for ourselves physically and mentally. You can't do it if you're stressed out about money.
Right. Well, I just love you. I I am, yeah, like, and knew, like I said, I knew about the organization. Everybody, all my friends in New Orleans knew who you were. We have a lot of mutual friends. And then Jeff Constantino, who's one of the ATPs. And I was like, Jeff, like, we need to do some stuff together. And he's like, you got to come down here and meet Mark. And he kind of set up me, going down there to visit. And I think it's the beginning of a lifelong friendship.
Yep.
And I want you to know that you can always count on me to support and share whatever it is that you're doing. And thank you for being brave enough to like see a need, and go for it like you have, and then to have the vision to scale that and add to it. Like I'm kind of blown away by you. So thank you.
It's a lot of work. Don't be blown away. I sometimes I smack myself like, you big dummy. Why? But I gotta do it, right?
Right, right, right. And hopefully, yeah, hopefully you have some people around you that are like, Mark, like chill for a second. Just chill for a second. Like,
My staff right now is like, dude, after this event, you're taking a vacation. Like
right,
you have no choice. Um,
right. Well, one thing about almost dying in a split second too is that you better take a vacation. Like tomorrow isn't promised, right?
right, but I mean, and that's I think my problem is like I want to make every second count,
Yeah.
and I like you died, right? So the second time I die, I want the legacy.
Yeah.
I want
Oh yeah, no, and
to do great
I
work.
I feel the same way. Like I think I've done it differently, but I feel the same way. I'm like, we don't have any time to waste. There's no time to waste. I was in a hurry to get married and to have children and to finish school and to like the whole career thing and all of it, like because I didn't want to waste a second. But you know what? Like taking some time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, that's important too. And then that half glass, you can't care for others. It's so cliche, but like fit some like floating in the water time, some like time for like some space for the universe to speak to you, and
Yeah,
it's important too. So
I will. I will. I
okay.
promise. I'm gonna
Okay.
at least a day, at least one day.
Okay, yeah, right. I know I sound like your mom, right? But I
You
am
sound like
one.
forget the mom. You sound like everybody. Every Mark.
All right. Well, I want to come down and like do tons of social media. I'm going to show you all of the gala stuff when it happens. Go buy a ticket. Go buy a ticket for the van. Mark, thank you so much for being my guest, and I will see you in a couple weeks.
Love it. Can't wait to see you. I
Bye.
love you.
Love you.